Hey everybody, what's up? How you doing? Welcome back to my channel. Thank you for stopping by. I just wanted to do a quick video. I guess we can call this a little quick tip video. This is Audi. As you can see, it's one of my neighbors who dropped his car off to make it look pretty again. The problem we have is the paint's faded on the top panels. Okay, the clear coat is all faded and it's pretty much breaking down and chipping away. It's got the same problem in the quarter panel, and he's got it really bad on the hood, and it's because the hood gets hotter than all the other panels because it's got the engine under it, and also being that they're top panels, so the sun comes down and beats on these all day long, which is usually why you would notice that the hood, trunk, and roof on the vehicles are always faded before anything else, and usually they'll be faded up here in this part as well because it kind of like catches more sunlight than the edges do. So rather than to feather edge this clear off just so that we can come back and prime it and continue with the procedure, myself, what I would do and what I would encourage everybody else to do is to completely eliminate it. Because if this clear is this bad that it's not just faded but it's just rippling away, I wouldn't leave any of this material behind. You leave this, let's say you feather etch this and you leave it behind and you come and you shoot your 2K primer or whatever primer you desire to use for your application, okay? And your paint job goes on top of it and all that stuff. Everywhere that the primer has good adhesion and it sticks well, your paint job sticks to the primer sticks to the vehicle, your whole paint job sticks to the vehicle. But you have this clear that's breaking up, and what I really wanted to point out, you see these little spots? These are bubbles. These are little air bubbles where the clear has delaminated. The same way it's flaking off here, that's what's happening here. This is how it starts. Starts as a little air bubble. This is, if I could put my air blower to this and just blow at it, it'll just go bloop and open up and you have a little spot. That's what this was. This whole circle here started with a little bubble and it chipped and it kept going. That's how it starts, okay? They're like little blisters of heat. You know, it's the heat trying to rise and pass through the paint job, all the heat that does that. So if you were to feather edge this, like I have this part here, see how this is all feather edged, but I have some clear that I left here. None of these areas here have any of those little white specks on there. So one would imagine this can probably stay on here. Doesn't have any little specks. But you come and you imagine just feather edging this and leaving this on here. All these little specks that are on here, they're just gonna continue doing what they're doing. Because even though you have a new paint job on top, you have your primer, your base, your clear, this is still underneath, and with the heat from the sun beating on it and the heat coming up from the engine, this clear coat is going to continue to unadhere itself from the base coat. It's going to be underneath. And on your new paint job, a couple weeks down the line, you'll notice a little bubble, like a little pinhole, just a little tiny little thing popping up. It'll look like nothing big deal. Maybe you want to try to come and wet sand it and buff it to flatten it out, but all you're doing is removing material. And it's going to come and it's going to keep happening, and next thing you know, everywhere that you have all these right here, the same exact way you see them, it's the same exact way they're going to reappear on the new paint job. It's the same thing that's going to happen, and the only way to eliminate them would be to sand and feather edge, sand through the clear coat, sand through the base coat, sand through the primer, and hit this clear coat again and feather edge it and knock that sucker out the way. And now what you got is a huge low spot. You got this huge dip from sanding through all those layers to get to that, and you're basically gonna have to paint an entire hood just for doing that, digging in that deep. And we're talking about several of them, you know? And even if it was just one and you did that, you gotta remember that in the future they're gonna keep happening. Another one's gonna show up, another one. So what you're gonna end up doing is you're gonna have to remove your entire paint job that you put on there, primer and all, to get right back down to where we are right now, to sand, to be that, and take all that off and start over. So something like this, you may as well just take paint stripper and just strip something like this right now. But the price that I gave my neighbor or my client, either way you want to look at it, to paint the hood, the roof, and the quarter panel, he was like, what? Like what? Like what? Okay. So he took me down a few $100, and I'm like, you can't just come down a few $100 for no reason. You gotta give me a reason. We gotta like justify it. I don't want to compromise in materials, because the client base that I do get here in my neighborhood are people that pass by, and they see that I'm always working on something here, and they want to give me a shot. Some people come with something small, like a bumper, and then they commit to something bigger. But some people like him and this other red car that's over there, they just want the whole shebang, because they've passed by several times and they've seen everything that I do. And they're like, just take my car, just to fix it. So we agreed on the price. I can't sit here and take paint stripper to this whole thing and take it down and do it, you know, from the beginning, because I'm gonna have to charge him a lot more than what I told him in the beginning. So this is all, honestly, I hate having to be the guy that has to find that fine line, that fine medium, to where a car is not worth painting the whole thing. You know, maybe it is, but it's not worth it to the person. And it's also not worth it to do some cheap, like some really cheap, dumb job on the hood, or anything for that matter, and have to redo it again a year later, because it's fading, it looks like ugly as the rest of the car, because then it's going to cost you more the second time around. When you add those numbers together, it's going to cost you more than what it would have cost the first time to do it right the first time. So that's probably the hardest part of this business. As long as you use good materials that aren't going to let you down, the other 50% is up to you to do your part right. And your repairs and your paint jobs, they would last forever. If you take care of it and you wash it and you wax it once in a blue moon, I mean, it'll last you forever, you know? I just want to throw that out there, man. You guys ever come across anything where it's got this clear that's all flaking off? Same thing's happening with that red car. I have videos on it, you'll see what I'm talking about. But I would suggest removing all this clear. All this clear, I'm gonna remove it. I'm taking all this clear off, because the last thing that I want to happen is for a client to come back with a job that I already got paid for, that I did, and be like, what's that? One or two little things, to where it's not worth sanding in through a brand new paint job just to fix one little thing. And it's definitely not worth it to strip the entire thing to do the whole hood over. So the person's gonna be stuck living with it, and you're probably never gonna get business from that person again. So you're better off just going the extra mile, suffering just a little bit. You know, sometimes it sucks, you know, but just do it, and life will get easier in the future, because your clients, they will gain trust within you. They'll trust you more, they'll believe what you tell them more often, and you'll have a lot more control of your business negotiations, and you'll be able, not to say you'll be able to charge more, but your clients, they'll complain less when you negotiate with them and you bargain. They'll complain less, and they'll haggle you less for a lower price, you know? Because when they see good work, they'll trust you, and they'll continue to want that good work. But when they see shitty work, they never come back. All right? If you find this helpful, give me a like, help me out. Thanks for stopping by. Have a good day.